other trains that were getting strafed. So I guess we walked a good share of the way back to the prison camp.
Did it take a couple of days of walking?
Yes, and I don't remember how long, and I don't remember where we slept.
Okay.
But I think we just kind of slept wherever we got tired, you know, as a group, and
And tell about the food and the chicken and the barn food.
Yeah. What were they feeding you along the way?
nothing.
Nothing?
We had, before we left this place as a group, they gave us each a piece of bread and a piece of salami, I think.
When you were at the tavern, were you fed okay?
Yeah.
But then once you left the tavern, they just gave you like a
You
piece
said
of bread?
fed okay. No, we weren't fed okay.
Oh, not okay there.
But we were given something to eat.
Okay.
There's a difference.
Yes, sir. There is a difference. They gave you
When we left, they gave us a little piece of bread like that,
Okay.
and a little piece of, I'd call it summer sausage or some kind of
Okay.
sausage. It was something you just slice and eat. I mean, it didn't have to be cooked or anything.
Right.
And that was supposed to last us at least until we got to the prison camp. So, and at the same time, I think the guards that were taking us up there got the same thing, but I'm not sure of that, but I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. Because they didn't have much to eat either, you know, so. Anyhow, one of the things that we encountered going up there was we're going across, going along this country road. We're staying out of where there was a lot of traffic, you understand. And a big noise that went over our heads, and it turned out to be a jet. We'd never, as I was anyhow, I'd never seen a jet.
Okay.
I understood that maybe the Germans were going to be making them pretty soon.
Okay. You did hear about them?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
You
don't
got to
think
see
we
one?
ever saw any pictures of them either.
All right.
But that's what that was.
You got to see one?
Before we knew it, we were right by the airfield, you know.
Oh, okay.
And by the time we heard the noise, well, it was already gone.
It's already
you know.
gone, yeah.
We knew it wasn't an airplane of the kind that we're used to seeing. So.
Cool. So you didn't ever actually get to see the plane, you just heard it? Heard the engine?
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
that's
Well,
about all I can say.
That's pretty cool. At least you got that.
Well, we found out that there were other jet airplanes on the airfield,
Oh,
I guess.
okay.
So I think we could see them afterwards. So
Okay.
not close, but it didn't look like any airplane that we'd ever seen before.
Okay.
So
Tell them about the chicken and the barn food.
what?
The chicken that somebody grabbed?
Oh, no, that's later on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
The most dangerous time that I had, I think, as a prisoner of war, was in going from that one place out in the country where we first got into a group until we got to the prison camp. We stayed on the country roads as much as we could. And every time there was a crossroad of those country roads, well, there was a guard there. And he wasn't dressed as a soldier. I was guessing, and I still guess, that he was more like what we would call a home guard.
Okay.
He had a gun, and he apparently checked everybody that went over there, went through that intersection. You want to know who they were and all that kind of stuff, I presume. When we got there, he would dicker with the guards that you guys ought to be back and doing your duty at whatever your station was, and what we ought to do is we ought to shoot all these people so you're not relieved of that command and you can go back where you belong. So, and that happened several times a day. I mean,
Now, did that corporal ever get back with you guys, or?
oh yeah,
Okay.
as soon as all that gets straightened out, well, he was right back
Okay.
there leading us, yeah.
Right.
It was just when it got muddy,
Yeah.
then he
When
disappeared.
people's pointing guns at you as he takes off.
Like what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
like at the crossroads. Did he
Or-
do
or-
much defending for y'all, or was it that the little private stuff?
Well, it was usually the little private one, I think.
Yeah.
But
Sounded like you had an angel with you though during all that. He was your little
yes,
angel.
I'm sure that's what it was.
Yeah.
But they were just trying to do what Hitler told them to, is shoot those airmen and, you know, that kind of a thing. And whoever else was with us, so. So that didn't happen. I do remember getting into the railroad station at Hanover. And I spent the night in the railroad station air raid bunker. It was way down in the ground and it was all solid concrete. But the British bombed that railroad station all night long. That's one bomber at a time, one right after the other. Not a big formation, you understand.
Okay.
But the plane would come over and drop its bombs and go back home. And that bunker would just shake like this. We were down there with 20 or so of us, and there must have been 50 German civilians in there too. We were kind of huddled in the corner and not making too much noise, you understand.
Right.
And I was afraid that they were going to kind of come over and beat us up one of these times. And guess that just didn't happen. But we did take it, the next day we did take a train out of Hanover that went up northerly for, it must have been 50 or 75 miles where the prison camp was.
Okay.
There was a town called Dusseldorf. They had two prison camps there. We got in one called 11B, and for some reason 11 was in like Roman numerals, so it was X1B. I found out later on that like after the war that it had a big reputation for losing prisoners of war with cholera, and they had a lot of trouble getting that under control. Apparently they did before I got there, because
Okay.
I was not aware of it all the time I was there. I'm not aware of any prisoners of war losing their life while they were there. We were about as much ignored as we could possibly be. I was not
Do
questioned
you by
about.
chance remember about the date when you actually finally arrived at that location? And do you remember the name of the actual POW camp?
11B.
11B? Okay, I'm sorry, 11B. Do you remember about the date by the time you finally hit there? It would have been
Oh.
April, probably April something?
It'd be early April, yeah.
April 45? Okay.
It'd probably be at the end of the first week. I'm
Okay.
guessing that,
All right.
something
You
like
just don't
that.
remember the exact date, okay. Well, nobody's walking around with a calendar, right? In other words. Okay.
Yeah, one day was just like another one.
All right, so you're hanging around there. They're kind of leaving you alone. They're not feeding you very well either, right? Pretty marginal food. I mean, there's a war going on out
Well,
there.
I was put in this. I came to decide that it was a prison camp within the prison camp. It was for basically made up for prisoners that were very hard to detain for one reason or another.
The troublemakers, huh?
Troublemakers.
Troublemakers.
But they weren't doing that anymore because they were getting people like me coming in there so many, they come in there so many every day that they didn't know what to do with them. So I was in a group that got in there, and as far as I know, I was separated from the rest of the people that I was brought in with. And I have no idea whether that was intentional or not. It may be that they recognized me as an air person, and this is not for air people. It was for land people,
Okay.
you know.
And
like
you were an
regular
American
soldiers.
air crew member as opposed to?
Well, I don't know that.
You don't
All I
know
know is I ended up there kind of by myself.
Okay. Did you ever come across your other crew members at any
Well,
time?
I'm
Oh, you're getting
kind of getting to that.
Sorry.
Uh,
All right.
The food that they gave us, that we would kind of be able to count on, was maybe 3 potatoes at a time. They were boiled in water, and they were probably bigger than bigger than the grapes there.
Okay.
I mean, there weren't
They were not big potatoes. They were little
baked potatoes like you get in a restaurant.
little bitty.
There were little bitty kids, and that would be one meal. The second meal would be a tub of hot water that had some kind of a grassy stuff in it. It might have been tea, and it might not have been tea. It was probably just something they got out by the roadside and put it in there, you know.
Okay.
So it has a color to it. So anyhow, that was it. There was a barracks building that I think that it probably had four or five big rooms, and I was in this one room, and that was to be my home.
Okay.
I could go to the other ones if I wanted to, but I didn't live over there. I lived in this one room.
Okay. Do you have heaters? Do you have any coal heater or oil heaters in there?
No,
Blankets?
no blankets.
Pillows?
You had whatever you brought with you. Maybe earlier they would have had stuff like that for prisoners, but the army was in such a disarray that they couldn't do anything. The barracks was really in charge of a guy from Nancy, France. He said he had a wife there waiting for him to come home. He thought, but he wasn't too sure. I mean, she was there. He said she was there when he was captured down in North Africa. And hadn't seen or heard from her since. The room that we were in had the inside walls had 3 bunks